It's the time for package from China. It's the year 2021 and we're going to take a close look at the 3D game box Goldensky. And let's say a Pandora box squeezed in this little tiny box that was quite revolutionary if you're looking at all the products they have released. But the question remains, what are we going to get and is this thing worth your money in 2021? So consider subscribing, hit that bell, and not to forget, hey, welcome back to the channel. It's awesome that you're tuning in here on The Wicked Gamer and Collector. So it has been a very long time that they released this 3D game box Goldensky G6, not to forget that. So basically there was back in the day the next generation of retro game system from a friend from China. Yeah, because I have personally never seen something like this before. Yeah, we have seen a lot of Pandora's boxes, but this thing not only plays Mame, Neo Geo and some random PS1 games that were pretty choppy. Now this thing basically runs it all. But how does it compare with the competition nowadays? Is this thing worth your money in 2021? So therefore I want to check it out for you guys and of course check to see what we're going to get. So this thing comes complete with everything we're going to need. A controller, a system, it even having Wi-Fi capabilities, and it comes in a fancy box. So if I'm going to make a top 10 about Chinese controller that I really hate, this is absolutely my number one. I have never seen such a shitty controller in my life, and you're going to get it with the Goldensky. Yeah, it's just freaking horrible in my opinion. The D-pad, we cannot even call this the D-pad, and the controls, everything about it is just freaking rubbish. So this is just wanted to point out, and yeah, if you have seen this controller, let me know in the comments what you think of this, but I think I know already what you're going to say in the comments. Earlier in the video I mentioned that these things are more like a squeezed Pandora box, but basically what it is, they are running this on an Android version and put it in a fancy case. They did put an effort in it making something unique, and that I really appreciate it. But is it any good, this 3D Game Gold box? Yeah, that we're going to find out. At the back we're having the input for the power supply, 12 volt HDMI output, 2 USB connection with the controllers, and we're having the TF card. Oh, by the way, you can swap out the TF card with another one if you want to, and of course, yep, we're having Wi-Fi capabilities because this thing has a naughty store. I just want to point out that we're having now an awesome tool called the Pandora tool. The guys have made a special tool for a lot of boxes, including the Goldensky GS. And with the combination with some programming, or yeah, there is not a very plug and play solution for this, but nevertheless with this tool we can add new games. So take consideration, it is possible with the Pandora tool. But okay, so let's take a close look at the menu. What are we going to get and what can we do with this system? Because it's quite interesting when you're looking at the Pandora box or Pandora Game 3D in general. But I want to point out that the 3D game box Goldensky is basically similar like a lot of Pandora's boxes, like the Pandora Games 3D, the Plus Edition, and yes people, also the 18S, only squeezed in a tiny box. What I think is pretty cool about the 3D game box and all these Pandora's boxes, that we have a lot of capabilities when it comes to emulation. And I'm not talking about only the really basic stuff like 8-bit and 60-bit. We're having also PC Engine, Sega Dreamcast, PSP, Mame, Neo Geo. It's just crazy what you can do with the box, and including the Pandora tool we can even add more games, and sometimes maybe in the future we can even add more programs to it, because we can also hack this device and make it more like an Android box. I have this thing with more capabilities than it comes out of the box from the manufacturer. But the menu, I do like it. We even have a recent list, a search list, all those things that we can find with the Pandora Game 3D nowadays. With your normal Pandora box or another game system, we can also do this with a 3D game box Goldensky. And this thing has been on the market for quite a long time. The biggest downside this device has is does it have not a lot of great support when it comes to different controllers. We can go to the IO testing, we have gamepad settings where we can reconfigure everything, even up to 4 player, but you need a USB hub for it, because we're only having 2 connections at the back. But it doesn't even matter, because if you're hooking up an Xbox 360 controller, most of the common controllers, it will not be recognized by the system. So earlier on I already mentioned more like a naughty store. Yes, there is a store in the system itself, like a lot of these Pandora boxes, but don't be excited, because I have always had a mixed feeling with these things. Maybe you can see games, or they say there are games, but I have seen so many problems that you can't download games, that let's say the system you're using are not configured or not activated. A lot of problems. So the naughty store, in my opinion, just forget this. Okay, so let's start about the games itself. How are they running on this system? So to begin with, we need to play with a shitty controller, so the experience will not be super positive. But okay, so we already spoken of the games, what it supported. So 8-bit, 16-bit, PC engines, let's say 32-bit, and also 64 and PSP is supported by this. But all of these things are a mixed bag, and I will tell you why. Okay, so let's get into the lower end stuff, and in the end we're going to work up to PSP and Sega Dreamcast, and I will show you what I mean with the mixed bag. But you can see that these games, 8-bit, 16-bit and the 32-bit stuff will run just fine on the 3D game box. So let's check out the arcade part. When it comes to the N64 stuff, they were using a really old emulator and a combination with this Android box that is not powerful enough. Sadly, we're not going to get a very good result. Some basic games like Diddy Kong Racing will work and has some decent frame rate so you can enjoy the game, but in the end it is not the experience that you want to have with N64. So it's a big pass. But next up we're having PlayStation 1, and this system runs pretty good on the Gamebox 3D. That's quite interesting. Alright, so next up we're having PPSSPP with the PSP Emulation. And Tekken 6 is a game that runs pretty decent on this box, but I'm thinking they will use this with a frame skip, because most of these boxes that are basically the same like this will not run it on the full speed. And PSP is just a mixed bag. Why I'm player 2? Messed up.
I'm not afraid anymore.
Battle 1. Fight!
And like every single Pandora's box, if you want to play Sega Dreamcast, they are running on the Dreamcast in combination with the Mame GPU that is inside. It will have some minor glitching and the speed will not be on 60 FPS all the freaking time. So fun fact, when you're looking at this Gamebox 3D and you're looking at all the other Pandora Box devices I've reviewed here over the years, you can see there are a lot of similarities. And not in a good way, because the emulation didn't improve a lot. So the basic stuff like 8-bit, 16-bit, 32-bit will run just fine. Still having a lot of issues with N64. PSP is not a very good experience in general. But okay, so this is what you can expect for the 3D Gamebox G6 Goldensky. So if I'm looking at the latest Pandora's box and I'm looking at this, nothing has changed in the last couple of years when it comes to emulation support and what you can do with it. But nevertheless, this is what we're going to get with the 3D Gamebox when it comes to emulation. And of course, not to forget, the most serious controller I've ever seen. I want to thank you for watching, consider subscribing, hit the bell, give this video a thumb up, and I will see you in the next video.